going into a class as a coach with a different lens, a lens of not necessarily looking at what is that child doing, but how are they doing it? What type of thought processes are going through, and are those things that create an equitable education for that student?
John, I remember you from last year. It was a great conference. The theme of that conference, however, for me was education, liberation. It was putting life back into education. But this year, the feel is a little bit different. In my opinion, I feel like the focus has been put on not just teachers teaching, but teachers remembering why they became teachers and nurturing who they are as a teacher, learning about themselves, understanding who they are, but also understanding who their partners are in the school and how to be better teachers. Can you tell me how Angela has helped facilitate that within you?
Absolutely. And I will say that from last year's conference, it was myself and my building principal. And the two of us, we just came up with so many ideas. It was such sparks that were going off. And we said, how do we bring this back to our building? And this year we've been so fortunate that we now have a team of 8. We have teachers, we have coaches, we have guidance counselors, administration. So it's a coalition of of people that work at North that really are going to have a lasting impact. And one of the things that I've really found this year is that, or this conference, is being able to look at yourself and being able to be introspective will have those lasting impacts on what I go to do next year in the building. I think that it's difficult work. It's not always easy, but that reflection helps you build who you are as an educator.
Yeah, I think it was really powerful, all of the work we did yesterday when it came to thinking about yourself. As an educator, a lot of your time is probably more spent thinking about the students and how you can impact them. So being able to make that turn and take a look at yourself and understand how you can become better, the self-awareness you need to realize that is huge. So that was a big plus.
Sure.
Talk to me about restorative practices, because that's another big word this year.
Sure.
Everyone's talking about it. I didn't hear it much in the conference last year. And so I'd like for you to just kind of talk to me about how Angela implemented some new restorative practices for you to use at your school.
Sure, definitely. When we first teamed with Angela and EdLife, we had some ideas and we had some thoughts about it, restorative practices, but we didn't have that foundation. And she brought in with training, multiple staff members, with sitting down with myself and administration and coming up with specific ways that we can be restorative in the classroom. She really helped create a framework for us, which we have been building on for the last year. And here at this year's conference, that work continues. And as we continue to develop ourselves and develop our repertoire, it's only going to have more positive outcomes for our students.
So this is your 3rd year working with Angela and EdLife. What has changed? What's the biggest aha moment for you?
There were 2 big aha moments since working with Angela. The first was, and I believe that everybody that at our building it was that aha moment, was she said, nobody's restorative 100% of the time. And for me, it just reiterated that we're not perfect. We're going to work and we're going to do our best, and we're going to always put our best foot forward, but sometimes it doesn't go according to plan, and that's okay. And giving that leeway and giving that, it just takes some of the pressure off, which was wonderful. The other aha moment for me was just being able to have different types of interactions with students, going into a class as a coach with a different lens, a lens of not necessarily looking at what is that child doing, but how are they doing it? What type of thought processes are going through, and are those things that create an equitable education for that
Right.
student?
So it's almost like stepping back and before reacting to whatever a student might be doing is just thinking about why they're doing it, how,
Yes.
and the reasoning behind it, which gives you clarity on how to approach when you begin to approach with questions and so forth. So again, the theme of this conference has been very, to me, enlightening. And I think I've seen the light bulb come on for many of the educators in the room. One that was really big was the color chart.
Yes.
Just me, myself, I was like amazed. I was like, I'm green, I'm yellow, I'm orange, I'm all of those. Tell me how you felt about it. Is this your first time hearing about the color chart?
It was. I've seen similar things, but I've never seen it presented this way. For myself, I was an orange, which I was not very surprised. But what I was a little surprised was I was very close to some of the others. There were a lot that there were orange, green, and blue were kind of in the same ballpark, and where the gold was somewhere totally different. But it just, again, it helps me be able to be a little more introspective into what type of educator, what type of leader I am. And it helps me look at not only my strengths, but also things that I might need to work on as well.
And it also gives you a look at how other people perceive your leadership style. You may
Definitely.
see yourself as, I'm doing this in order, and they may see you as, you're super strict. You don't go outside the lines. And so I think that's really huge because we don't really think about how someone else perceives what we're doing. It's really just, this is what I'm doing, and you should follow what I'm doing.
Sure. And I think one of the things I really loved about being able to see that how others perceive you is that it was done in a way that you're like, oh man, that hurts a little, but at the same time with love and humor.
Yeah.
So your colleagues, as much as they're like, oh yeah, that's you, you know it's coming from a place of love and
Yes.
care. And like how I said, we can't be restorative 100% of the
Right.
time.
It's a great opportunity to laugh at ourselves,
Yep.
right? Because we oftentimes are the other person saying, oh, he's so strict. I don't know why he does it that way. But then when you learn about their personality and you also learn about yours, you're not so quick to judge, or you're not so quick to make assumptions about someone else's personality or their style when they're in the class with you.
And I think through working with Angela with EdLife and learning more and more about restorative practices, one of the things that I've taken is another one is looking different perspectives. Whether I'm talking to a teacher, whether it's a student, whether it's a family member, I am more aware of other perspectives that come into play in the conversation. Whereas if you don't do that, you're not going to get the best you're not going to get the best outcome possible.
What do you think one of the biggest things, I see your table. You guys seem like a really tight-knit group, and you really have some deep, heartfelt, it seems like, really caring discussions about how you move. Do you think a part of that was facilitated by the way Angela came in and kind of helped usher you guys along the way?
Sure. So when we first started working with Angela and seeing who in our building were really buying in and saying, this is who I am as an educator. I want to learn more. I want to build myself, my principal and the other assistant principal. We started saying, who do we want to come to this conference? Who are the people that we feel are going to be able to open up, grow, and really contribute in an authentic way? And we are so proud of the group that we brought together.
To make a huge impact.
Not only is it from the feedback I've got from them, not only is day 1 and 2 having a great impact on them, they're excited about the impact that they're going to have when they go back to school.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is when that light bulb goes on and you realize, wow, I'm revitalized. Like I'm energized, and I'm ready to go back and share everything that I learned and make a change.
Definitely.
Because no matter where you start, you have to start somewhere. But a lot of it, again, back to the theme of the whole conference this year is you got to start with you, which is huge. And you got to be willing, you got to buy in,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, so for me, and one of the other things that Angela's touched on, I think it was at last year's conference, but again this year, is that the sphere of influence, and you're always within your own sphere. So you need to start with yourself and build with yourself. And the fact that our group contains counselors and teachers and the admin, everyone has their own separate sphere of influence. And as those grow, as the teachers, as everybody grows with experience, and that increases, and it just has a much broader impact
Yeah.
on not only the school community but on hopefully our district as well.
Right. If you were to go home tomorrow, and how would you describe your experience here at the EdLife conference?
I would say that even day 2 has surpassed my expectations. One of the things that our team, that I was talking about with my principal, when we were here last year, we had such wonderful communication, some wonderful ideas, but we didn't have anyone to immediately share it out with. So now, just having the experience of 2 days of working together with a group, that is to me worth its weight in gold. So having the larger group, having people to collaborate with and get immediate feedback from, it's just very reassuring and makes me feel like we're totally pointed in the right direction.
And is Angela and EdLife someone you would recommend to someone?
I would absolutely recommend Angela. I feel that her partnership with North Middle School is one of the key reasons why we've actually been able to get off the CSI school list. We'd been an identified school for many, many years, but by starting to change the culture of the school, by starting to build up our restorative repertoire, and by really partnering with Angela and EdLife, we've seen so many successes, and I would recommend that to anybody.
Awesome.